Hey, friends, and welcome to the Happy Hour Jamie Ivey podcast. I'm your host, Jamie, and I'm so excited you're here. Every week, I invite a girlfriend to join me on the show, and we chat about the big things in life, the little things in life, and everything in between. Guys, today you are listening to episode number 148, and this is with my friend, Lisa Harper. In fact, I say we're friends. We've only met once when we recorded this, but she invited me to swim at her pool next time I see her, so I think we're friends. We'd never met before today, but let me tell you that I loved her from the minute that we said hello. She loves queso and swimming and girls' night and laughter just as much as I do, and I think you're going to love our conversation today about her new book. Lisa has a new book out right now called The Sacrament of Happy: What a Smiling God Brings to a Wounded World. And this book came out in June, so last month. I encourage you to go get it. You're going to love it. She's published 11 books. She's done so many amazing things, but I would guess to say that her most amazing thing she's done was in April of 2014. After a difficult 2-year journey, Lisa finally got to bring her daughter home from Haiti. And let me tell you, you need to follow them on Instagram because they're hilarious together. She's such a cutie. So go find her there at Lisa D. Harper. While you're there, I'd love to find you on Instagram. Come find me at Jamie Ivey. Guys, if you are one of our listeners in the United States, I'd like to say happy 4th of July. I hope your day was fun yesterday. I'm actually still in Ireland, so I completely miss this 4th of July holiday. But no matter where you're listening, hopefully you are reading this summer because you know what I say, guys, readers are leaders. If you're joining us for our book club this month, I am so excited to get back to the States and get on Facebook Live to join you in talking about that. Okay, friends, here is my conversation with Lisa Harper. Hey! Lisa.
Actually, this makes me so happy.
Welcome to the Happy Hour. Let me tell everybody that we've been talking for 13 minutes and I never pushed record. So you're about to get the best.
That's right.
We've already practiced.
Right. Well, what scared me is I thought, oh, crud, like, is my brush showing? Is there some horrible thing I've done or not done? Because your face just fell. I was like, I don't think I said a bad word. I'm not sure. So, hey,
we
no
were
biggie,
mid-conversation and I just went, oh my gosh, I never pushed record. Okay, well, here we are for real. Lisa, welcome to the Happy Hour.
I'm thrilled
oh my gosh.
Here.
So we had some really serious personal conversations that no one will ever hear.
We did.
Okay, well, here we go. Lisa, thank you for being here. We're actually recording live, which I don't do a lot of my shows this way. We're in Nashville together.
But I love it because I told you in the part that wasn't recorded that I love your dimples.
Yes, you do.
Because you look happy.
Thank
and
you.
I love that.
Thank
I
you
told
so
that
much.
God, when you're born, grabbed your face with his fingers and said, isn't she cute? And that's how your dimples stuck.
I tried to tell my daughter, she asked if I could give her dimples. And I told her that I had to squeeze her face really hard. And she was out. Yeah, so she doesn't have dimples. Okay, Lisa, man, let me tell you, I'm a little flustered.
But that's what we're talking about, too, is we're talking about the absence of perfection, how perfection is not a prerequisite for happiness and certainly for a relationship with God. And to me, that's the point of what we just did.
It's totally good. Okay, so Lisa, we have a ton of mutual friends, and I've heard 1,000 times, you're going to love Lisa Harper, you're going to love Lisa Harper, and I do.
I heard that we're going to get in trouble.
That's even better.
We might get arrested or something if we hang out too much. That's what
even
I've
better.
Heard. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a daughter who you adopted from Haiti. I have 2 kids from Haiti, 2 out of my 4, and so we have that in common, and I want to hear all about that.
When did you bring yours home? Your Haitians?
2009 and 2010.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
You've been a longer Haitian mama than I have.
They've been home 7 years.
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
How old are they?
Right now, when we're recording this, one of them turns 12 on Friday, and then my baby girl is 9.
See, you're so much younger than me because I can tell you have tight skin and high metabolism. I'm 53, but I was so slow to the party. I was so just really dumb as a rock, thick as a brick. So I didn't bring Missy home until the year I turned 50. So I went through menopause and motherhood at the same time. So I'm older than you, but a younger mom than you.
Hey, 50 is the new 40.
Yeah, that's what I keep telling myself.
So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it doesn't always feel like it, but I'm going to pretend. That's why I'm wearing double Spanx. So maybe I'll look like the new 49.
You don't really wear double Spanx. You're joking.
You know, I am joking because these jeans are so tight that they're working like Spanx. As a matter of fact, if my button pops off, you're going to lose an eye.
That's hilarious. So whenever I do wear Spanx, like if I'm getting ready and Aaron's like, do you really have to wear that? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Because let me tell you, with this dress I'm about to put on, if I don't have this on, you're going to be embarrassed.
Okay, let me tell you the most horrible thing that happened. The Spanx-ish, if I can divert the conversation away from important spiritual nuggets. I was doing a video Bible study 2 years ago, and I had forgotten my Spanx. And I was wearing, for whatever reason, a tunic with a geometric pattern, which you can only imagine. And I didn't have Spanx. And the girl who was helping me get ready and do makeup and stuff, we were just about to go live. And when they have all the cameras, it's expensive. You can't go, hang on, can I go to Dillard's and get some Spanx? And she was like, Lisa, this is distracting. Like, people are not going to watch you because the geometric print, and then I was wearing, it was long, but I was wearing leggings under it. And it wasn't just a muffin top. It was the whole bakery. They had to duct tape me.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. To smooth it out. It's literally on video. I can't say long sentences. I'm teaching on Hebrews because I was duct taped from my ribs, top of my ribs, all the way down to my hips. And I'd be like, and Jesus loves you. So much because it was duct tape. It was hilarious. So now
that had to hurt coming off.
It was unpleasant. It was unpleasant. I did not need, electrolysis for a long time. No waxing after that for a couple of months. Yeah, it was exciting.
Oh, my gosh.
So now Spanx seem relatively friendly to me.
Yeah, you're like, this is great. Anything's better than duct tape.
Oh, yeah. Because I used to think Spanx were horrible.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm getting internal injuries. I'm like, oh, this is cake. It's just like a body sock. It's no big deal.
Do you listen to podcasts a lot?
No, not a lot. I like yours and I like Annie Downs.
Well, you're so sweet.
And Chris Kane's. Those are kind of the three I listen to.
I'll take all three. I'll take being in their categories. There's a podcast called How I Built This, and the creator of Spanx is on there.
Oh, she's brilliant. Yeah.
I could hear her story.
Right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Blakely. I could hear her story 1,000 times.
Me too.
And be like, oh, I can do anything in the world.
I love that entrepreneurial spirit.
Me too.
I was in London recently and somebody told me I'd listen to that. And it is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I love those
because
stories.
They fail.
They usually fail way more than they succeed.
Yeah.
Kind of back to our point. Yes. It is not about faking it until you make it. It's about being honest until you make it.
Okay, so what I know about you is you've been in ministry a long time.
Yep.
A long time.
Yep.
It's
a very gracious way of saying I'm old. I'm 53, been in vocational ministry for 30 years.
It's really impressive to stay in ministry for 30 years because I feel like it's hard.
It is hard.
It's really hard.
I left briefly. I was in youth ministry for 6 years and loved it. A year out of undergrad, I started with a parachurch ministry here in Nashville, Tennessee. I did not want to move to Nashville. Like now
Where are you from?
I'm from Orlando, Florida. But went to college in the deep South, went to college in Alabama and South Carolina, and got this job offer with a youth ministry in Nashville. And I was like, I do not want to go to Nashville. I thought it was Cracker Barrel and country music. And I was like, this is going to be horrible.
Well, it might have used to been, let's be honest.
It was a little bit.
It's not that way anymore.
And now, of course, I love Cracker Barrel, hence the Spanx. But I felt like if I didn't take this God job, that I would get hives or something and or disappoint my mom, which is even worse than full body hives. And so I came up here and loved it, but was also shocked that people in vocational ministry aren't perfect. And I thought, oh my goodness, I never thought I'd see people gossip or do anything that was immoral if they were in vocational ministry. I thought that was utopia. And so I actually left. I was in my late 20s and I left pretty disappointed and a little disenchanted with vocational ministry. And I thought, I don't ever want to draw my paycheck from a church or from a ministry again. I want to just have, Bible studies with girls in my home and go to their high schools and colleges and encourage them and then still be able to have my own literal happy hour. But I thought, I don't want to be in ministry because it broke my heart. And there's actually a lot of pride in me because, of course, I didn't see my own sin nearly as big and ugly as I did everybody else's.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't that I had this goal to be in vocational ministry. It's just that's kind of the only thing I feel like I'm good at is telling stories about Jesus and connecting with people.
Yeah.
I was in pharmaceutical sales for about a year after that youth ministry job. And it went well. I just found myself going, I hate this. I hate knowing that even though I'm making some company a lot of money, I don't feel like I'm doing anything substantive or anything that affects anybody's life in a positive way.
Yeah.
And so, of course, there are a million jobs that are not vocational ministry that are positive.
For sure.
There are teachers, for one, who I think should be paid more than actresses, but that's another podcast.
Another story for another day.
And so then I ended up going to work for a ministry out in Colorado, and that kind of made me go, you know what? It's not about being perfect. It's about going, let me take all of my imperfections and kind of throw that bread on the water and see what God does with it, because he promises he uses the weak and the foolish, you know?
And thank goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a book that came out June 1st, The Sacrament of Happy, What a Smiling God Brings to a Wounded World. And I've read it, and it's beautiful. And I'll tell you in a minute.
I can't believe you read it.
I did. Look, I've dog-eared the things I want to talk to you about. I'll tell you in a minute where I cried.
To impress me. Okay, tell me where you cried.
Let me tell you where I read it at. I was at a restaurant here, Henrietta Red.
Oh, that's a great restaurant.
I sat there all by myself in the bar and devoured your book.
I can't believe, hopefully some carbs too.
I did.
Because it is not
ricotta.
A paleo kind of book.
I had the ricotta.
Yeah, ricotta is that's
basically
a good
I ate
carb.
cheese and bread for dinner.
Oh, that's that. If I could bathe in cheese and bread, I'd be happy.
I mean, it was the best.
A little bit of guac, a little bit of queso, and some olive oil and chips, and I'm good.
Do you like oysters?
No.
Okay, so here's my deal. I texted my friend Amy, which I think you know her on the Bobby Bones show.
Yeah, I know. Yes,
she said y'all met. Yeah.
Lovely.
So
she's really good friends with one of my friends. Tracy
She told me the whole
Hamilton.
story. Yes,
she's great.
So I did an interview with her yesterday for her show, and I just
shame
texted
she's
her.
not attractive. Oh. So sad.
I literally texted my friend when I was interviewing her saying, I want to look like Amy. And then as I was eating my cheese and ricotta, I thought to myself, I bet she doesn't eat this when she comes here. But I had like wood-fired oysters, which I could eat because they're not just,
No, they're a little too snotty for me. I can't do it.
But I read your book at Henrietta Red in Nashville.
With oysters. Somehow it's like my book has become almost more literary than it actually is.
Very sophisticated. But before I tell you where I cried in the book, I want to just talk about this idea of happiness.
Yeah.
Because I read that you said this, and we talked about this before we were recording, but about how happiness has seemed like a scary word to Christians for a long time. And you're kind of debunking that.
Yeah. It seemed like a superficial word.
Yeah.
Because most of us have been taught either literally or tacitly that happiness is based on happenstance. Mm-hmm. It's based on your circumstances. So whether you're fitting in your jeans or people are being nice to you or you have a lot of followers on social media, then that makes you happy. So we're taught it's superficial, and we're taught joy is the spiritual emotion.
Yes.
Because, the acronym I was taught in youth group, probably you too, that joy is Jesus, others, and yourself. So I thought for decades that to be happy is almost hedonistic. That's seeking something that's just self-fulfilling. But to be joyful is, that's actually as you get more intimate in your relationship with Jesus, you're going to be more joyful.
Like if you're happy, you're not suffering for the Lord.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Or you're just filling yourself with stuff that pleases you,
not
pleases
to the
God.
Lord. Right.
Yeah. Certainly not, going to Haiti or mission trips or being real. And that is actually not at all biblically true. First of all, God defines himself as happy. God love it in 1 Timothy 1:11. It's where Paul is telling Timothy, here's how you're to live the rest of your life. Here's basically your charge. And he says, you're called to share the glorious good news. The gospel is good news. In the Greek, it's euangelion for the one person who's impressed by Greek. It's about the only thing I remember from seminary. He said, you're called to share the glorious good news of the happy. It's makairos in Greek. That means happy God. And over again, God says, I'm a happy God. If you follow me, you'll be happy. It's more often translated, Old Testament, it's Asher. And so we translate that word into blessed. But it's just as theologically sound to translate it as happy. Same thing in the Greek, in the New Testament. Makairos, that we more often translate as blessed in our English Bibles, is actually happy. It's happy or fortunate. And you go, that just slays me that God actually calls us to be happy. No, it's not happy the way the world describes it. It's not based on happenstance.
Right.
It's based on the goodness of God and really the accessibility of God, regardless of how hard life is. So happiness and sadness are not mutually exclusive. You experience those concurrently. So it's not a ha-ha happy. It is a deep contentment and fulfillment in who God is and therefore who we're allowed to be. We're allowed to experience fulfillment and contentment even when things are hard.
Yeah. And you talk about experiencing fake happy.
Right.
And real happy.
Oh, I was a liar for decades.
When's the break? When did you go, I'm tired of this?
Oh, I can tell you the exact break. I had a panic attack. I was teaching a group of women, and you know how you speak all the time. You know when you're speaking to a group of people that you know, so it's not 10,000 people in an arena you don't know, which that's kind of easy to present your best self.
For sure.
But when it's 250 people you know, there's a little bit more like you're standing up there in your underwear. Well, I was with a group of girls I know here in Nashville, and it was just one of those things where I was like, oh, sure, I'll come encourage your mom's group. I'm standing teaching. I mean, Jamie, I remember this like it was yesterday. It was about 10 or 11 years ago. And all of a sudden, and I'm just sharing something that's easy. It's not hard. It's not like I have a weird mic. There's no giant screens.
Right.
It's just a group of friends that I'm sharing encouragement with. I started sweating like a sumo wrestler in a sauna, like projectile perspiration. I started kind of panicking. It's like I was inebriated. Not that I've experienced that before, except for prodigal season in college. But I was like I was watching myself outside my body. And I was like, oh my goodness, sweat was running down the back of my legs. I thought, this is just weird. Well, afterwards.
But you're just teaching.
I'm teaching and kind of panicking. And I'm watching the faces of my friends go, I thought she did this professionally. Because it was so obvious. I mean, I was just
paid to do this?
Yeah, she's really bad. I'm going to start doing this. I totally crashed and burned. But I found myself going, what was that about? Well, a friend of mine is a licensed counselor. I don't go to her. I go to a woman who knows better than to try to be my friend and my counselor. But I pay $100 an hour to be relatively healthy. Anyway, this friend of mine who's a counselor said, Lisa, you had a panic attack. And I was like, I did? And she was like, yeah, you did. You've got anxiety that you haven't been honest about. And I was like, oh, I do not. I'm a new
Don't
creature.
speak that.
Yeah, I did. And I also had gone to a lot of counseling when I was younger because I was sexually molested when I was younger and had some stuff that was really just devastating when I was younger that I carried into my 20s and 30s, which is one of the reasons I'm not married, because my picker was broken and I was really drawn to abusive men. Anyway, here it is. I'm 40 thinking I'm pretty fixed.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this anxiety rears its ugly head. And I started going to a wonderful counselor and realized, you know what? I have faked being well for years, partly because I thought if I admit to the places where I'm grieving or I'm lost or I feel still very, very sad and very broken, that'll hurt God's reputation. So I say I was a happy doppelganger.
You felt like you were like this representation of God to the world.
Absolutely.
It's all on your shoulders.
And I was also lying to myself. I'd be like, you are too joyful. You are joyful. Get your joyful on. And I had never allowed myself to grieve the places where I had been just eviscerated.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was honest about the places where I was still so broken and so needy. I think that's another misappropriation of Scripture. We teach people that if you come to know Jesus through salvation, put your hope in Him, everything's okay.
Everything's better.
And you will never struggle again. And I'm like, well, that's not even biblically sound.
Right.
The Bible says work out your salvation every day with fear and trembling. That's not God's going to beat you over the head with a 50-pound Bible. That's, you know what, you need Him every day, not just for salvation, but for sustenance. Yeah. And once I started kind of mining some of the stuff that was under this lump of denial in my life, then I was like, okay, I have to... I know this is cheesy, but, I always hear you have to feel it to heal it. I had to feel some stuff to be healed and realize true contentment and fulfillment, which is biblical happiness. I didn't completely feel that. I was about half healed. Now, I'm not saying I'm fixed. I tell my therapist that I'm her job security because there's still so many things the Lord is revealing to me. The answers are in His Word. I'm not always smart enough to mine them to myself. But yeah, I was a happy faker. And now I feel like I am probably for the first time in the last 5 or 6 years really resting in the goodness of God, even when life is just hard.
I think that's going to be really freeing for a lot of women in particular that we speak to on the show. When I was reading your book, Eating Oysters, I got to chapter 3 and I started reading it, and literally the chapter is called, Is God Happy With Me? And you kind of set up that question for us of, is God happy with me? And I'm telling you, it wasn't the oysters, it was me. I literally got a lump in my throat and I almost started crying in the restaurant because just having someone, because I thought to myself, do I think God's happy with me? And of course the Christian answer is yes, whatever. But I think that is somewhere where so many people sit.
Oh, yeah.
I do ministry, so I want to say a lot of us in ministry feel this way. Under the surface, is He happy with what I'm doing? And I think it's a serious question.
It's a very serious question because I think and of course I'm using the term generally because some of y'all are way further along than I am who are listening, but I mean, I went to seminary, I've been in vocational ministry for 30 years, but probably 20 years into vocational ministry, so almost 35 years into my walk with Jesus, I didn't really believe God delighted in me. I thought He tolerated me because I thought there is no stinking way a perfect God like that could really be happy with a woman who has as many stains, as many screw-ups in her bio as I do, because my press release only tells you the highlights.
Right.
It's like Instagram. It's the highlight reel. But the places where I have made the same mistake, committed the same sin over and over again, the places where I've been profoundly broken and didn't access his healing right away, those places you go, I just don't know how he could look past that, not overlook it, but see it and look past it. And so I could preach grace to everybody else, but it was like wet soap to me. I could not hang on to the fact that God actually grins when he sees me coming.
Yeah.
You know, I just couldn't. I thought he loves me. I get that. And I get that he's delivered me from my sin. But for him to delight in me, to dance over me with joy, to laugh when I do metaphorical cartwheels on his lawn, yeah, I don't think so.
I think the reason it got to me is because it was the word happy.
Yeah.
Because I teach from a stage all the time.
Right.
Jesus' righteousness is on us.
Yeah.
That's
God
theologically
made him
sound.
who knew no sin so that we could be called righteous.
And so when God looks at us, he doesn't see our sin. He sees the righteousness of Jesus.
Right.
That's very Look how smart we
I
are.
always say, I always say rose-colored glasses of Jesus.
So I know that.
Yeah.
I teach that. But when I read the word happy, is God happy with me? It did something in me that I don't think I've had to, that I maybe have ever thought of before, Lisa.
Yeah.
I know he sees Jesus when he looks at me, but is he happy? And that was, it was really good for me.
I know.
So thank you if you wrote that just for me. Thank you.
You know, honestly, if I can be so selfish, I wrote it for me because I would have answered no if I'd been honest. For 40 years, I would have answered no. That was too much to hope.
Yeah. It's like we can believe that he's forgiven us.
Yeah.
And we can believe that we have eternity. We are heirs of Christ. All the big things.
Right.
We can stand on those.
Oh, kind of the Vacation Bible School. We're soldiers in the Lord's army. Yeah.
But to believe, because we've also associated happy with, if I'm happy with someone, it's because they're being nice to me or they're good with me or whatever. I'm happy with you.
Right.
But the minute you turn on me, I lose my happiness with you. So I think it was the word that threw me off.
I know.
Oh, it was so good. If you look at the Sermon on the Mount.
Absolutely. It's happy are those who delight in the Lord. Happy are the poor. Happy are those who are meek. Over and over and over again, the word happy. I mean, that could be, the sermon could be how to be happy.
Yeah.
But, you know, Jamie, when I lost 2 adoptions before I got to bring Missy home from Haiti, I would not then, and that was, goodness, 6 years ago was the last one that was just devastating. I would not have described myself as happy then. I was devastated.
Grieving, broken.
And to me, if somebody had said, Lisa, you can actually experience contentment in the goodness of God while concurrently experiencing legitimate grief, I would have thought, no, those two are mutually exclusive. And that's where I go, our theology is crooked when it comes to happiness. Because you can be in a covenant state of happiness. It is a sacrament. It is, sacrament is defined as an outward sign of inward grace. Well, that is the perfect description of happiness. It's an inward, sometimes audible sign of grace. It is recognizing God is good. He does good, even when my life doesn't feel so good or look so good. So even if I'm in my, elastic waist jeans, lately I've been wearing a lot of stretchy pants, me and Jack Black. So like stretchy pants. And when I didn't get the child that I hope would call me mama, am I still completely content and fulfilled in Jesus? Some days.
Yeah.
Is he happy with me every day?
Every day.
All day. He
I think
chooses
that's the beauty of the gospel, because the world doesn't have those mutually at the same time.
That's right.
Right?
The
fact that we can have both of those, like you just described,
that's right.
I think it's our
well,
hope,
the
right?
operative word is we can have it. I don't think most people experience it because they don't even know it's allowed.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have permission to be content and grieve at the same time.
So good. Okay. I love your book, and I hope everyone gets it. I do need to ask you about this, okay? This is where I read this part in the book, and I wanted to punch somebody in the face.
Okay.
You speak to him as Absalom.
Oh, I know where you're going now. Yeah, the guy who gave me the dress that was too small. Okay.
This, I literally thought to myself, there cannot be people that exist that do this in life.
Yeah. Yes, there are, because I always pick them to date.
Tell everybody real quick.
This
is the only story I'll steal from your book because they need to read it. But this has to be told.
Well, I was in my 20s, and we weren't dating. We were plating. Plating is what I call platonic dating. Okay. That means that you don't get to kiss, but sometimes they pay for meals and you pray together. Yeah. So it's very unfulfilling if you're in your late 20s. Do you remember the Elizabeth Elliot book, Passion and Purity?
Yes.
I'm like,
Everybody
I've had enough purity. I really need a little passion. only in the godliest of ways.
For sure.
But anyway, I was platonic dating this guy. We'll call him Absalom because he was very enamored with his hair. Anyway, I didn't know if we were dating or just friends. It's one of those weird relationships.
You haven't had that DTR, determine the relationship.
No. And we haven't had any, my dad used to call it swap and slaughter.
Okay,
We've not kissed. But there's this definite romantic undertone.
Right.
And so there's a lot of flirting and a lot of, it's kind of like we're dating. Everybody thinks we're dating, but I don't know if we're dating. Well, so he invited me that year after we'd been in this kind of limbo place for probably, almost a year. He invited me to Valentine's dinner.
That's a big deal.
A big deal.
Right.
And you go, okay, guy, unless they're just dumb as a rock, they know what that means. At a very nice restaurant. And so I thought, oh my goodness, this is like the Titanic starting to turn.
Yeah.
And so, I buy what I thought then was a really nice dress. Now I look back and, the shoulder pads. I'm like, oh golly, I look like Dynasty.
Then,
it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I have big shoulders anyway, so I look like, Darth Vader. But I had this pink dress with shoulder pads, if you can imagine. We went to a really nice restaurant, had this wonderful meal, but I'm a little kind of almost titillated the whole time just by, I think he might like me thinking about it. Because he knew what he was doing. It's Valentine's night.
In a nice restaurant.
He's in a suit. We're in a nice restaurant. Well, we get to the end of the meal. The waiter comes and takes our dessert order and coffee, and he signals the maitre d', and he brings over this box, a gift for me. And I was flustered. I was like, I didn't give you anything. Because again, I didn't know, are we dating? Are we not? It would be weird. Do I do a card? Do I not? And so anyway, he was like, no. I just wanted to give you something. He's all excited about me opening the box. Well, I recognized how like nicely wrapped presents will sometimes have the seal of
from the store.
And it's this uber expensive that still exists here in Nashville, just uber expensive ladies dress store, boutique. And I thought, good night. And then I thought, oh, maybe this was like his mom's box.
Right.
And he just reboxed something. But no, I unwrapped the box, peel back the tissue paper, and there's this gorgeous dress. It's a St. John's dress. So if anybody knows brands, they start at like $1,000. And I was so undone because I've never had anybody give me a dress that was that expensive. And I was kind of undone by it. And I really didn't know how to respond. But then I looked at the tag and the dress was 2 sizes too small.
Okay.
And I thought, oh goodness, he's guys never know sizes. Yeah. And so he starts saying, will you try it on for me? Again,
at the
restaurant, very romantic. And I'm like, and I'm acting at first like I'm shy and I don't want to try to, really I'm thinking I will come out and look like a sausage. I don't know, I can peel this on my body. And I mean, Jamie, what's so sad is if I weighed now what I weighed then, I would have walked in this interview with a bathing suit. I'd be like, oh, I wasn't wearing pants. I didn't realize it because I was actually really small then. But I keep demurring and saying, oh, no, I'll try it on later because I knew it's too small.
Because
Absolutely. Well, he keeps insisting. So finally I have to spill the beans and say, actually, this is too small. To which he responds, yes, I know. He said, when we played tennis last week, I checked the size in your jacket, so I know what size you wear. But he said, Lisa, here's the deal. I think there's a line between cute and beautiful, and you're about 10 or 15 pounds from that line. So I believe if you would lose 10 or 15 pounds when you can fit in that dress, I know I'll fall in love with you. And I was so stunned, Jimmy, I didn't even know how to respond because what he said was, you're not good enough. You're just not quite to the line. And I think even if those women who are listening to you haven't had a cad like that they dated, they know what it feels like to go, I'm just not quite there. I'm on this side of the line. And I think that's how we labor under Christ a lot is I've got to be a little better. I've got to fill in a few more Bible study blanks. Oh my goodness, I cussed at the kids on the way to church. So now I've gone backwards 3 spaces. We hardly ever believe God is truly happy with us. And I think it causes us to live much smaller lives than he's designed for us to live.
Okay, you turned that into a really, really great example of God.
But you're still mad at him.
so mad at him.
Yeah.
That was just so awful.
It was painful. It was, I don't even think I was honest enough then to take
to
it
understand
as,
how,
I mean, I took it deep, but I couldn't process it.
You didn't stay with him, did you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what you talk about when you're like, I picked the bad ones.
I did. And I thought There was another guy who used to mute me on his phone, and I thought he was falling asleep. He was a brilliant guy. I thought he was falling asleep, and his chin was hitting the phone buttons.
Yeah.
But actually, he kept pressing the buttons when he decided I had talked too long, and later told me, this brilliant guy, 2 PhDs, but not so smart with interpersonal relationships. He said, I decided I would do an experiment on you. And the controlled variable would be me beeping whenever you got to a certain word count. And I wanted to see if you would begin to tell stories more concisely. And he said, it worked. And I was just like, okay, but here's what I thought. And here's where I think I was so broken with my understanding of how much God loves me and delights in me and wired me the way I am. Mm-hmm. Not to say I don't have sin that has to be rubbed off, but I thought, literally, I can remember thinking this must be what it means when I'm to be submissive to a godly authority, because he obviously has a stronger personality than me. And I thought strength at that time was the same thing as to suppress someone. So I thought, he has told me the truth. You talk too much. And he has taken the fact that I talk too much, and he has successfully just put a lid on it. And I thought, that's what leaders do. I didn't realize, had he been a secure guy who actually loved me, even if I talked too much and that bugged him, because that's a given, I'm a bit of a windbag, he would have been like, baby, can you give me the Reader's Digest version? There would have been more kindness in the way he said it would help me. And if I didn't change, he still would have been content in who I am because he loved me. But I thought God was like that. I thought God probably mutes me because I'm sure I get on his last nerve. I'm sure God thinks I'm not really to the line, that I need to lose something or do something more before I'm fully accepted. So really the best I can hope for with my Creator Redeemer is that he tolerates me. I didn't even hope that he would delight in me or celebrate me. And that's where I've changed. And that's where I feel like I know more of who Jesus is than I've ever allowed myself to know, because I'm so much more relaxed.
It's so beautiful.
And that, again, that doesn't mean I don't know there are still places. He spanks me on a regular basis because there's places where I need discipline, but it's always with affection. I mean, it's like, I feel like even when he's disciplining me, there's still this grin of, this is my kid. This is my kid. And I want my daughter to know that. I don't want Missy to ever labor under the kind of shame
that you had to deal with
that I did.
And I think we do that. We bring earthly relationships into the way that we view our Heavenly Father
Absolutely.
A lot. And that happened in your world as well.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys, I know you're loving my conversation with Lisa, but first, I want to take a chance to thank our sponsors, which actually both of them are just for us ladies, which I need to be honest, no men listen to my show, right? Who wants to listen to two ladies chatting? Anyhow, I want to thank our first sponsor, and that is Rent the Runway. Here's the deal. Getting dressed is a drag when you've got a closet full of clothes you regret buying. Thankfully, you can finally get the wardrobe you love with Rent the Runway's unlimited subscription to everyday fashion. Unlimited is a subscription to fashion that gives you access to premium designer styles for work, weekends, and everything in between at a flat monthly price. So you can rent unlimited designer pieces, including tops, jackets, handbags, and jewelry on rotation, and enjoy the thrill of new clothes without the commitment, the closet space, or here's my favorite, buyer's remorse. All you have to do, guys, is simply browse photos to review to find the right fit, and then you select 3 pieces at a time, and you get to keep them as long as you want. When you're ready for something new, swap out your pieces with fresh styles from over 450 designers like Vince, Theory, Tory Burch, or Opening Ceremony. Or here's another great thing, guys. If you fall in love with the style, you can buy it at an exclusive discount. All right, there's free shipping and dry clean on every piece. Guys, I have done this. I have gotten dresses, tanks, shirts for date nights. It's so much fun because, listen, I get to wear them and then send them back. It's so great. And right now, our listeners can get 25% off their first month when you visit renttherunway.com/unlimited or download the iPhone app. Either way, enter code HAPPY at checkout. Got it? Again, that's HAPPY at checkout, either at renttherunway.com/unlimited or use the iPhone app. Okay, and our next sponsor. Listen, guys, this is me right here. Stop tugging at your bra straps and second guessing your size. It's time to put fit first with Third Love. Third Love uses women's real measurements and super smoothing memory foam to create bras that fit better and are more comfortable. They offer sizes from AA to G, as well as their exclusive half-cup sizes. Just answer a few simple questions online, and Third Love will recommend a bra in the right size and style for you. And get this, right now, Third Love is offering you a chance to try one of their perfect 24/7 bras for free for 30 days. All you do is pay $2.99 for shipping, and you're on your way to a perfect fit. You get to really live in this bra. Feel free to wash it, wear it all day. You might even forget that you're wearing it. If Third Love isn't your new favorite bra, then you just return it or exchange it for free. Go to thirdlove.com/Jamie right now to get your perfect Third Love bra and try it for 30 days. That's thirdlove.com/Jamie to try your new favorite bra for free. thirdlove.com/Jamie. Okay, guys, you're going to go get you some clothes from Rent the Runway, a new bra, and now back to my conversation with Lisa. Okay, you mentioned your daughter.
Yeah.
Missy, let's talk about motherhood for
Other
a
than
second.
your children, she's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and she's beautiful.
Let's talk about motherhood. You said earlier, I missed this opportunity for biological children.
I was dumb as a rock. I mean, just so foolish with romantic relationships in my 20s and 30s that I missed that window of biological motherhood. And I really did get to the point of, okay, I'm relatively healed in my 40s, but now my ovaries are raisins. And so I'm not going to get to have children.
Yeah.
And so the fact that God restored that and allowed me to become an adoptive mom of a kid who I can't imagine having a daughter different than Missy. I mean, she was just, I feel like we were just tailor-made for each other.
I've never met her. I've only seen her, what you put online.
We look exactly alike, don't we?
Well, I'm telling you, you guys act alike.
We do.
Which I was thinking this morning, I was getting ready. I was like, man, God, how cool is that?
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have to do that.
No.
You know?
He absolutely didn't.
Seems like your personalities just are so in line with each other. And you have each other. You're like a team.
Well, and sometimes I'm like, oh gosh, Lord, I so wish we had a baby daddy because she deserves that. If that's his will, then I'll marry. I'm actually kind of plating a guy now who does not buy me 2 small dresses. I've gotten a tad healthier and who I'm attracted to. But, I do want so much more for her than I had. It was interesting because the other day my sister was watching her. She had come up from Birmingham to hang out with us. And she said, had you not been abused and had you been affirmed when you were younger, you would have been exactly like Missy. And she said, y'all have the exact same spirit, only she knows she's loved and you didn't. And I thought, how cool that my child, her biological mama died when she was 2.5 of AIDS. Nobody knew the daddy, in Haiti, impoverished, an orphan. Yet Missy doesn't have an orphan spirit. I had lived in America with two cars and a pool and had a father, and then my parents divorced, had a stepfather, and I'm the one with the orphan spirit.
Right.
And so it's so sweet to me the way God has been lifting that off me, and my kid doesn't have it. And yet you would think she'd have an orphan spirit. So it really has been sweet. And I don't want her to be a mini-me. I want her to be Missy. But naturally, we are very similar in personality. And even some little idiosyncrasies where I saw it in the orphanage. I was like, this is a hoot.
This is funny.
We have these similarities,
When did she come home?
April 14th, 2014. So 3 years and 3 years and a month.
Am I allowed to ask are you done with one?
I don't know.
Okay.
If I'm married, I travel about a lot. I travel, let's say, 170 days a year. And Missy has HIV and it's undetectable. She's doing phenomenal by the grace of God.
Which is amazing.
With her health. It is. It really, truly is a miracle.
Yeah.
But it's been a lot. She's gained 25 pounds since I brought her home from Haiti. She's healthy source. I've gained 30.
I gained a lot of weight after my kids came home too.
Yes. I'm like, this is the most amazing gift ever. And I'm flat, worn out. And so I don't know how I would manage the logistics with 2. However, I was talking to a friend last night who's adopting from Haiti, and she said, Lisa, are you done? I was like, I can't say I'm done. I would love, if it's God's will, I would really love to bring another child home. I would love, best case scenario, to be married, so at least somebody would carry the heavy things and mow the yard.
Yeah.
I'd love for Missy to have a father, but I'd love to adopt an older child.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to try to bring Missy's half-brother home to America for schooling. He's quite a bit older than Missy. And he needs a leg up. He's this great kid. And I don't want to take him out of Haiti. He can help restore Haiti from the inside out. But he needs somebody to champion him. And I'd love to get him an education here in the U.S. and then him go back and really be a champion for Haiti.
That's awesome.
So I'll at least have an almost son for a while when he's
Where's
studying
she
here.
from in Haiti?
The Liagon region, a little town called Nepli. So
Is that down? It's down
by Grecier.
Yeah.
Yeah, down like if you know how you look at Haiti, the Caribbean side.
Is that where the Wilsons are?
Yes.
Yes.
The Wilsons is who introduced me to Haiti.
I know, yeah.
Okay, they did not have, they don't have an orphanage. They don't have an adoption agency.
Right.
They're, a friend of mine here that I hadn't talked to in years was there visiting, and these people come running up to the Wilsons and say, can you drive Marie? They had never met Missy's mom to the hospital. She's really sick. And they're like, okay. They'd never met her. Well, they race this young woman to the hospital. She dies en route. Nobody knows she has AIDS.
With
She's
Mike
never been
and Missy
diagnosed.
took her to the hospital?
Mike and Missy. And with my Missy, little Missy. And so they're in the hospital in Port-au-Prince, and the doctor comes out and goes, did you know Marie had AIDS? And they're like, we just met her, and she was unconscious. Like, we don't know at all. And he said, well, she died of AIDS. And then he points at little Missy, my Missy, and says, is that Marie's daughter? Because, of course, it's white people with this beautiful little brown peanut. And they said, yes. And he said, I need to test her. And Missy said her heart just fell. And she was like, because she knew Missy through their feeding program. And she was like, oh, Jesus, please don't let this little girl be sick. And so he comes out, and lets them know she's actually very sick. And they end up finding out later she has HIV and cholera and tuberculosis.
Oh, everything.
And the doctor said she will only live another 2 or 3 months if somebody, really anybody, doesn't stand in the gap, because she's not even in the system yet. So it's going to be a backwards way to adopt her. This is going to take longer. And she most likely, the doctor said, will die before you ever get her home from Tennessee. Well, a friend of mine just so happened to be visiting Mike and Missy that week. She calls me the day she gets back from Haiti. I'm in Dallas. It was 2 weeks after I had lost an adoption and was devastated. I mean, heart on the floor, run over by trucks, devastated. She calls and says, I know you're really grieving the loss of Anna Price. I'd gone through this whole pregnancy process with a little girl who's a hardcore crack addict, and it fell apart in the most horrible, heartbreaking way for everybody involved at the very end. And anyway, she said, I know you're still grieving that, but she explained about Missy, and she said there's this little 2.5-year-old in Haiti who doesn't have a shot at living if somebody doesn't stand in the gap for her. And I thought of you because you said you wanted a kid nobody else wanted. No, I mean, that's not, Jamie, because I'm godly. It's because I'm single.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to take a child who had a shot at a mom and a dad. And she said, would you pray about this? And I said, nope. Been praying about this for 30 years. And then I got off the phone. I said yes, that I would do it. Didn't have a picture, had no idea anything except she was 2.5 years old. She was Haitian and she was dying. Got off the phone, said a bad word because I thought, oh, good. No.
Right.
But I'm in so far over my head. Then 6 weeks later, I was in her village. They put her in my arms. She was 2.5 years old, 19 pounds. She was so sick. Didn't like me at all at first because, I was just this big, scary, pale person.
Yeah.
Couldn't hardly speak because of the tuberculosis. She was much sicker than I even knew. But she looked up at me with this just defiant little look. And then after a while, she grabbed my pinky finger and she said, hello, Mama Blanc. Hello, white mama. And I was like, stick a fork in me. I'm done. Done. Took 2 years.
And then I was going to ask, 2
years. How long did it take you?
Ours was 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
and our son came home 10 days after the earthquake on that humanitarian parole thing.
Oh, my goodness.
So we don't know when he would have come home.
Yeah, probably a lot later.
Yeah.
Because, that's when things started getting later and later because some kids were released who shouldn't have been released.
Yeah.
No, it took 2 years. But, I was telling this friend of mine last night who's just starting the process, I said that 2 years was... It was awful. It was a roller coaster. There were times I didn't think I'd get her, times we thought she wouldn't make it. I mean, it was rough. Now that time is so compressed. In my mind, I'm like, oh, it's no big deal.
Exactly.
It's no big deal.
But in the moment, it's the worst thing you can ever possibly imagine.
Because you fall in love with your kid and you can't
bring them home.
And you can't even control what's going on.
It's the weirdest thing.
It is weird because she was so
out of control.
sick.
Yeah.
And I knew they weren't giving her meds when she should have her meds. And they were, you just go, this is killing me. But you have to go, okay, Lord, again, it comes back to, I believe you are good, you do good, you're sovereign, you love this peanut infinitely more than I could possibly love her. So I'm going to have to trust you. I'm going to have to trust you with my heart and with her. And I didn't always do that.
I know.
But you really are forced to.
Yeah. And that's where, too, that thing we talked about earlier with the happiness and the sadness
That's
at
right.
the same time.
That's right.
That's when, like, I have friends going through some really hard times right now. And I'm like, this is where our gospel hits, like,
Yeah.
the rubber meets the road.
That's right.
Is what we believe.
And do we believe that God is good, even if good things don't happen to us?
Right.
Do you remember Moses and did it ever bug you he didn't make it in the promised land?
It's sad.
Okay, it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading, this is years ago, I was reading the Transfiguration. And yeah, I read it a million times. And all of a sudden I went, oh, Moses was there. The Transfiguration took place on probably Mount Hermon or an adjacent mountain, Northern Shore, Sea of Galilee. Have you been to Israel before?
No. Oh, I want to go so bad.
Where the Transfiguration took place, it's the most scenic point in Israel. You can see the whole Sea of Galilee. You can see where Jesus shared the Sermon on the Mount. There stands Moses next to a glorified Jesus. If you were interviewing Moses today and you said, Mo, would you have rather gone in the promised land in your sweaty jar clay body with a bunch of ingrates, or the first time you make it the promised land, it's on the most scenic point, standing next to a glorified Jesus? You know he'd say door number 2. And I think that's where sometimes we get deluded into thinking our happiness is based on happenstance or based on time and space. And I'm like, no, God is bigger than that. And he's so much better than that. Trust. It's hard.
Right.
But trust that no matter what your life looks like now, he is good, he does good, and he absolutely adores you.
And if I was interviewing Moses, I would definitely call him Mo like you just did.
Oh, you have to. I think you have to call Moses Mo. Mephibosheth is Bo. Yeah, got to shorten those names.
Lisa, it's such a joy to talk to you. Okay, the reason we have to hurry is because I didn't press record for the first 15 minutes, and the CEO of Lifeway is in here after.
Oh, awesome.
So they're literally like,
oh,
you
yeah,
don't have
you
one
just
more
say
minute.
Amen. That's it. That's
I literally texted just now and said, can I have 5 more minutes? And they said no. So I obey what they say.
Listen, I will totally submit to the CEO of
But
Lifeway.
I have 3 minutes, and I need to hear what you're loving these days. What
I'm loving these days. Well, it doesn't have to be table side. I just made it at my house the other day. Fresh guac with pomegranate seeds.
Oh, pomegranate
and coarse
seeds.
Salt. Pomegranate seeds. Pomegranate seeds, fresh jalapeno, and sea salt. I'm telling you, it'll change your life in your
I'm done.
guacamole.
Yes.
That I love with all my heart. I love these new Tom's boots that are kind of orangey color. I love them with all my heart.
Okay.
And then I'd say the other thing I love is I've really fallen back in love with power ballads from the 80s. I was listening to Journey the other night while Missy and I were four-wheeling in our mule. And I had Journey. We were headbanging, swinging our hair to Journey. And it made me so happy. So I think 80s music, guac with pomegranate seeds, and
Tom's boots.
And Tom's boots, yeah.
I love guacamole. I could eat every day.
Me too. I think there will be
every day.
vats of it in glory.
And it's avocado, so it's like good fat.
It's such good fat.
Yeah.
Dark chocolate is such good
That's what
sugar.
I tell myself all the time. It's good
and French
fat.
fries fried in peanut oil are so good for us.
Yes. Okay, last thing. I wanted to tell you this.
Yes.
You love Charles Spurgeon.
I love
You
Charles
talk about
Spurgeon.
him in chapter 7.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a shameless plug real quick, okay?
Okay.
My husband has a book coming out August 1st.
No, I'll get it like today.
It's called Steal Away Home, and it is a historical fiction account of Charles Spurgeon.
Oh, no, I'll pre-order
B&H
today.
just putting it out.
I will pre-order today because I have such a crush, and I can't promise you it's platonic, on Spurgeon, Lewis, Francis Schaeffer, and Chesterton.
Well, I think you'll love the book.
Oh, I can't wait to read it. Steal Away Home is a beautiful title.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I love that.
I'll make sure you get a copy because you love him.
Okay.
Lisa, you're amazing.
No, I love you.
Next time
I'm
we're going
so
to hang
excited.
out without microphones.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. Wasn't that a great conversation with Lisa? Even though I forgot to press record at the beginning. No lie, guys. 15 minutes went by before I remembered. And that's not the first time that has happened to me in my life. We had a fabulous time. Seriously, go grab her book. Follow her online. I promise you will not regret it. Don't forget, any information from our shows, whether that's the sponsors that help us out here, the books we mention, any webpage Lisa and I talk about, you'll find it at jamieivey.com. We're going to be selling tickets to the next Happy Hour Live, which is September 8th and 9th, right here in Austin, Texas. You'll find those under the events page. All right, guys, today's show was edited by Chris with Podshaper, and the music, as always, is from Jason Ho. Next week, my guest is Virginia Cumberbatch. And can I just tell you that we talked about something a few months ago when I recorded this that I have not stopped talking about to Aaron. I promise you this. He would agree if he was here. I'll give you a clue. It's about feminism. I loved our conversation so much, and I think you will too. Guys, enjoy your show. Happy 5th of July. Share the show with a girlfriend and have a happy hour with a friend. I'll see you guys next week with my friend Virginia.